Yeah, we'll start off with an introduction. Well, first, I'm going to invoke the Holy Spirit, if that's okay with you. I just want to pray, come, Holy Spirit, be with us today as we share a little bit about ourselves, about our book, and just about you and your kingdom. Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity to be together. And we look forward to a fun evening. So, amen.
Amen.
But anyway, so I am Leah Bricks. I live in central Minnesota, Albany to be exact. It's a very, very small town. I live on a farm, actually. We have a 200-acre farm. We raise corn and soybeans and steers intermittently. We don't at the moment, but we do have a big steer let out back. So beef cattle. I am pregnant with my 8th child and I homeschool all those that are old enough to homeschool. And writing has just always been a passion of mine. So it was really fun for me to be able to finally take a book all the way from the writing process to the publishing process and everything in between. So it's been just a really fun experience for me to be able to do that. So that's a little bit about myself. Amanda?
Yeah, so I'm an illustrator, children's book illustrator, and I have loved art and books since I can remember, like before I can remember. I have like pictures my mom and dad took of me when I was little, and I remember when I was little, we go to the library, we got to check out books, and it was however many you can carry, but they didn't realize how determined I was. So I could carry quite a bit, and then I remember just always doodling on something, which is partly why it's Doodlebug Art Creations, because I love doodling. So that kind of evolved over time, my love of art and drawing and doodling and books. And God took me on a very long, kind of difficult path, but what it did is it helped bring all those different attributes that I need now in my business. And so he kind of strengthened me, and through his power, I was able to get where I need to be today, and being able to create this amazing book with Leah and so many other authors. And I'm here in Columbus, Ohio, and I have 2 boys and my husband Colby. And my boys are in 3rd and 6th grade right now, so we're about to head into summer. So I have to keep remembering they're not. I'm always trying to think the next grade, but they're in 3rd and 6th, and they keep me on my toes for sure. And they're just a blessing. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me.
All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of introduction about the book itself, St. Joseph's Hammer. So I was inspired to write this book because I read a book 2 years ago. It was the year of St. Joseph is kind of what the Pope decided. And so I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into what does that mean? I didn't know anything about St. Joseph other than that he was the foster father of Jesus. And he was never really of much interest to me, to tell you the truth, because he was kind of a quiet, sleepy old saint, I thought. But in reading this book, it was called Consecration to St. Joseph by Father Don Calloway. And it just changed my life. I mean, I was just introduced to who he was, not just as a sleepy, quiet old man that you always see him depicted as, but really a young and handsome and just brave man who would have had to protect the child Jesus and protect the Blessed Mother. And I was just so blown away by that, like just how strong he was and how different that was compared to like what I had always known. And so I really wanted to introduce people to St. Joseph. And as many of you know, there's so many broken families out there. And St. Joseph is considered the protector and defender of families. And so I feel like in this time, especially right now, we need St. Joseph so much, just his example and his prayers praying for us here that we can be, or that we can have strong families and especially strong fathers. And so that was kind of the inspiration behind St. Joseph's Hammer, and then to introduce it to the children so that they can grow up knowing and loving this powerful, powerful saint.
Awesome. And so for my part, I just wanted to share a couple of different illustrations that I have done, and kind of my, kind of almost thought process behind them. So one I shared a little bit already. I'll wait for that to pull up here. So what this is a scene where they had gotten back to Jerusalem, and they're together again. With their homeland, was just being in Egypt, and it's kind of happy time there. And I was looking for a light source because in every illustration, you have to think about where is the light source coming from. And so for this one, of course, the window was the obvious light source as well as the candles, but mostly the window. And then I just had this inspiration to include a dove there and above Jesus, younger Jesus, a child Jesus. And but I was looking at doves that are actually native to the area of Jerusalem and Israel. And so that's why I have this dove here, which as you can see is not just like an all white dove. It actually is really pretty. If you want to look them up, I don't know their specific species or anything. But if you look up doves in the Jerusalem area, you'll find a really beautiful dove. And so as much as I love like the pure white dove symbolism, I thought that would be really cool. And who knows, I don't know what the doves looked like back when he was there. I mean, it could have been different, right? But I just wanted to include something special and different. And I also had them breaking bread, which is very symbolic as well, and just kind of try to fill the home with different knickknacks and everything that I thought that they might need. And then one more here I want to show is the main cover. So this is the art in the book as well as the main cover. And I was trying to think of, I really love the thought of the teacher is being taught, or, the teaching the teacher. So, Joseph is teaching Jesus, the creator of the universe, or the son of the creator of the universe, to how to do carpentry, which I think is just like this beautiful poetic thing. And so this was really fun to create and kind of imagine like what that would look like. And I loved, creating a very like supportive, with his arm around Jesus and really encouraging him, and all the different tools and equipment and supplies and everything around. So this was really fun to create, and made like a really nice picture, kind of thinking back what it could have been, right? We don't really know what it looked like, but this was kind of an idea. And I had to research, all the different kind of olden tools. I don't know if these are 100% correct, but I did a lot of research and there wasn't a whole lot of information, as you can imagine. But I tried my best to find like, tools that might have been used back then. So it was a lot of fun researching this. So I wanted to share that. Okay. So are we going to be doing the doodle with me, correct?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So I've been doing these little doodle with me's for a little bit now. It's been really fun to kind of share with people kind of some doodle processes and that sort of thing. And so I've really enjoyed doing that. And so we thought it would be fun to kind of do that with a character from the book. So in order for time, I picked the hammer, and I think this is something that everyone could draw and have fun with. And maybe if you want to get your paper and pencil out and draw along, and that way you could draw your own hammer, and you can make yours different. You don't have to make it exact. You can make it a different shape, a different expression, different colors, whatever you want it to be doing, different hands, maybe it's doing something different. So but this is going to give you an idea of how I drew the hammer. So, and the fun thing is with art is that you don't have to be perfect. There's like realism and stuff where you probably should be like a little more accurate, right? But a lot of art is more about the expression and not so much about getting everything exact. Because if you worry about that all the time, especially when you're starting to just learn, it can be a little overwhelming, and then you just don't want to do it. So I encourage you, as you're creating art, is just to enjoy the process. And the learning, it will come with time. It doesn't have to be right away. And that's something I always struggle with, is I wanted to be perfect right away. For one, we're never going to be perfect, but also sometimes we're going to make mistakes, and sometimes that's okay. Like I love Bob Ross, happy there's a, happy mistakes. So sometimes those mistakes become something beautiful. But here I just drew a kind of a rectangle, and then I drew two kind of circles, like ovals for the eyes. And again, you can make any expression you want. So, if you wanted to make this a grumpy expression, maybe you cut into his eyes here, and his eyebrows are like this, right? So if you want to, oh, I'm really kind of feeling like, oh, look at that cute dog over there, then maybe it's more something like this. So you could change the expressions a lot by just changing the eyes and the mouth. So that's really fun to be able to do that, is to play around. So I recommend you guys to just play around and create like your own expressions. And it'd be really cool if you would share these with us later. So you can get on social media, and either with Leah or myself, and you can go ahead and post a picture of your art. Now I'm doing this on my iPad just because it makes it easier to share, and that's how I drew it to begin with. But you can definitely just do this with pencil and paper, or any writing utensil, marker, pen, whatever you got. So it doesn't have to be, I just like pencil because you can erase it. And we're just doing like a long cylinder here for the body. And I try to draw the arms and hands more simplistically for him, just to make him more cartoony. And so you just do some long, like, noodly arms and cute little hands. So you see, sometimes I have to do it multiple times. Even though I draw all the time, it's not going to be something that is just going to always be perfect every time, and that's okay. Now, when I drew the hammer for the book, what I would do is take this hammer here on the left, and I would bring it onto every single page for reference. And also sometimes I would use it for like sizing, right? So to try to get the same size every single time could be very difficult on different pages, sometimes he's bigger, sometimes he's smaller. And so, I would make sure to do that for each and every single page. Now, like, I've noticed here that his sides are a little bit too short. Just can tell here. So the cool thing is it's a lot easier to erase and change it when it's digital. I love that fact. I was trying not to turn it to the side. It's really hard. Normally I turn my canvas around quite a bit because it allows your natural hand to, because you actually draw not with my wrist, but I actually will move a lot of times my whole arm. And that makes the drawing better because you're using the natural curve and movement of your arm. Well, he's not perfect, but there he is with a smile on his face. And that is the hammer. And I would love to see your art. If you would take a picture and post it, you can do it at Doodlebug Art Creations or at Leah Bricks Author on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I think we're on all of those. So whatever is your preferred method, and we would love to see them.
Want to see mine? It's horrible. I should not have done it in pen, because then you can't, I don't know.
Yeah.
Note to self, use a pencil so you can erase those lines. But now I know for next time, okay. I am not an artist.
You can get white out and fix it if you wanted to.
There you go. Or I'll try it again.
I love yours though. Yeah.
Oh well, but yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
Pencil because then you can do different things. And the reason why I didn't just leave room for the eyes is because I find if you're drawing the eyes, I'll just show you real quick. This is a little trick of why I did it in one line. So if I'm drawing the line and then I have to stop and draw the eye, which, by the way, it also makes it harder to know where the eyes should be. So you're not drawing them all at once. You're drawing them each one, try to even them up. So sometimes it can get a little wonky. Now I have a little guideline underneath because I'm doing this live. But to do that in real life, it can kind of get like sometimes your lines are up here or down there in the middle because you're not quite. So if you do the line all at once, then you know that you got the line perfect like that. So that's why I did it the way I did it. So sorry for those using pen out there or permanent marking methods.
No, I like it. That
So
makes more
little tricks that I
sense.
picked up.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah, but yeah, so a lot of times when you have to draw something, especially if you're doing it digitally, it makes it way easier than having to erase your line. If I were doing it on paper, I would do it with they have different types of pencils that actually will like H versus like a 2B. They have all different range, so lighter to darker, so that when you press the hardest you can press with that pencil, it can only go so dark. So you would go with a very, very light pencil and you would draw it underneath with like a sketch. And then you could go back over it with a darker pencil for the final. And that way you can easily erase those extra lines.
Oh,
They won't show up. Yeah, lots of little technical things when you go for that. But you don't have to worry about that. If you're just starting with art, it's just for fun right now. So don't worry about it. All right. So if anyone has or we were going to talk about kind of other things going on. I know that you have other books in mind or other projects in mind, your blog and everything. So why don't you tell us a little about that, Leah?
Sure. I do have, well, first off, I do blog weekly. It's called Catholic Country Chronicles, and it's my sister and I that we kind of co-blog, I guess you could call it. So we actually take turns every other week. She posts one week, I post the next week, but we post mostly about our faith. Usually it's stories of crazy things that have happened to us and how we relate it back to our faith, or how the Holy Spirit is speaking to us or working in our lives. And that's been a real blessing. We try to keep them very short. So they're anywhere from 3 to 5 minute long blog posts. So they're very, very short. I have a lot of people tell me that they drink it, or we post them Sunday morning so that they read it before church, drinking their coffee while they're drinking their coffee on a Sunday morning. So they're very short reflections, but like I said, kind of a really fun project for us. So we're Catholic Country Chronicles, and you can find us at CatholicCountryChronicles.com. We're also on social media. So, well, just Facebook and Instagram, I guess, but mostly Facebook. And then I do have a couple other books that I have 2 that are written, and I have a couple other ideas in my head. It's just a matter of if I want to pursue them. I want to, but I have a very, very busy, chaotic life right now. So I don't know. I wanted to kind of see how St. Joseph's Hammer does before I venture out. But one of them is a book on purgatory of all things, something that's not talked about very often, but it's for middle schoolers. A book just talking about, well, it's a story. It's a story about somebody from purgatory coming back and talking to people. So if you like that kind of stuff, that might be of interest. So it's a very short chapter book. And then I do have another children's book written about a child with dyslexia and what that looks like throughout his life. So like I said, I would love to take them across the finish line, but we're going to do one book at a time. And being this one just came out, I need to wait a little bit before I pursue the other one. So, and like I said, I have a couple other ideas in mind, as well as we might do a devotional with our blog and things like that. So we're just always writing. It's just a matter of what we do with the writing. So how about you, Amanda? What are you working on?
Yeah, so I have a book I'm working on right now with Julie Rico, and she's in Texas, and it is God Says, I know the plans I have for you. And it's a really sweet book. 2 little girls were modeled after her grandchildren, are, kind of pondering, all the things that they could be when they grow up. And then they say, well, maybe we'll just be 2 little girls a little while longer, or something to that effect. And it's just really fun, all the different pictures and kind of imagining, what you can be. And, there is a God aspect to, obviously, a Christian aspect, which is great. And it's just been such a joy to work with Julie. And then I also have a book out by Jennifer Powers called I Am a Little Sister. I'm sure most people have heard about that in my circles anyway at this point. And So it's a book about two sisters, one older, one little, obviously, because it's about little sisters. And most books out there are like, oh, you're going to become a big sister now. And, we're going to talk about that. And there wasn't a whole lot of them out there talking about the little sister. And so that's why the author had decided to create that book to kind of highlight the special roles little sisters have. Because big sisters definitely have big roles. But little sisters have their special place in the family as well. And it just kind of goes through that process and kind of celebrating them, which I think is great, because we are all beautifully, wonderfully made, and we all have different purposes and plans in life. And so yeah, it was like the first one on the market to be about little sisters, and hopefully she's kind of busy with life and her family and work and stuff, but hopefully she'll be able to create some other books along those lines. She's definitely considering it too. And that can be found on Amazon. So I Am a Little Sister. And then, of course, we have the St. Joseph's book and this other one coming out. And then I have another one that's in the works as well. And then another possible one that's coming up. So lots more to come. I'm also working on my own book series. It's going to be a Christian book series. I'm going to be illustrating it and writing it myself. So that's, coming along, but it does take time, as Leah, mentioned, or that as you've gone through the process. I mean, it usually takes like years from beginning idea to the book is in your hand. So, but yeah, I'll definitely be keeping everybody updated. So definitely follow Leah Bricks on her social medias and me on my social medias, because we'll keep you updated on our next upcoming projects.
Awesome.
And my website, if you want to take a look at or have links to the book, is mandaswift.com/links. And I'm going to go, I put her website and my website in the chat. And there's also another one in order to get her book. So why don't you tell them about your book, how to order it?
Oh, sure. You can go to my website, which is leahbricksauthor.com. And you can click on the link there for it. Unfortunately, at this time, I can't get the store to work on my website. It's this whole thing. But I do have an Etsy shop. So I'm selling it through my Etsy shop. So I don't have the link in front of me, but I can find that link and I can post that too. So it's on Etsy. And I think if you just search St. Joseph's Hammer or Leah Bricks Author on Etsy, either one would probably take you right to it. So
cool. All right. If there's any questions for us, whether it be about the publication process, the writing process, illustration process, any of those different types of things that you all have burning questions about, feel free to drop them in the chat, or you can unmute and ask that question. We would love to answer any of those that you might have.
I was just going to say one question that I kept getting asked I did 2 launches. I did one, a big launch, and then I did another mini one this morning. And they said, how did you decide what to choose for all of your images, like for all the illustrations that Amanda drew? And I just told people too that I had kind of an idea in my head of, because I was really, the stories in a children's book is what tells the story. It's not the words. I'm a very wordy person. And so that's why I like blogging, because I like to create pictures with my words. But in this case, you have to strip it down to the absolute bare minimum. And so it's just this beautiful image that's actually telling the story. So if you go down to what's an example? Like here, I mean, page 10 even of St. Joseph thinking. I think for that one, all I wrote was, I want St. Joseph to look really perplexed. And Amanda did an awesome job of creating this look of kind of confusion and thinking, and okay, I'm perplexed. I'm trying to, figure out this problem. And so I think it was really cool how it kind of worked out. I kind of had just a rough sketch. It was like 1 to 2 sentences is literally all I wrote down. And then we did chat about what we wanted them to look like and things like that. But it was just exciting for me to have this vision, and then Amanda would be able to kind of understand what I was saying just through that 1 to 2 sentences is all I would have written. And then she, in this picture specifically, if you want to share about that, there's some actual rich symbolism in the picture itself, which I thought was just absolutely brilliant that you thought of.
Well, yeah. So I was thinking, he's sitting there thinking about, the coming child, and he's going to be an earthly father of Jesus. And Obviously this is a huge, consideration, or that maybe this is before the angel came to him, and so he's like, I don't know, like, is she, what's going on here, but he's contemplating that. And so I thought, um I didn't want him just to be sitting there in the field and it's blank, and so I was trying to think of what would be in there. And I thought, what if there were like, parents with their child, right? So a sheep with a baby lamb, which of course Jesus is the lamb, so I thought of course they have to include a
Mhm.
lamb. And then you've got the mama bird with the baby birds, and so that there was that as well. And then we also have the three trees, and the back, which is with Trinity, and us, the three birds, just kind of like little tiny things like that probably no one will even consider, but I was just trying to think of different things in there. And so of course he's under the shade of the tree there, and just kind of really thinking about it, and the hammer's there supporting him, looking up at him, just kind of like, hey, you got this, you're gonna take care of it, and everything, like you're gonna be able to handle this. So yeah, it was really fun to kind of think about those things. And it's interesting when you look at the images before the text, because you might think, oh, there's this like huge empty area there, but I have to leave room for the text. And so sometimes it feels sometimes like illustrations kind of, when you're creating for books, if you don't see the text on them, they can feel like a little I'm trying to get this to work here. It decided to freeze up on me. So sometimes it can be weird looking at them without the text. So I definitely recommend you to get the book. It's a beautiful book. It's hardback, hardcover, and it's a large book as well. It's not like a small book. It's like what is it, like 9 by 11.5 kind of range or something
I
like
think it's eight and a
that, or
half by
8 by
11 is what it is.
11.5,
Eight and a half
eight
by
and a half by
11. Yeah.
11. Yeah. Yeah, I guess
I have one
I was thinking
here.
it was slightly a little bit longer than a regular page, but maybe you're right. Yeah, so it's a very large, beautiful book. And it's just with the words on there and the story, it all just comes to life. And so I definitely recommend you getting it, because it's great like that. Okay, so when you look at things, like here, for example, then there's this like huge blank spot at the top, because that's where the text has to go. So again, it's kind of interesting when you're creating illustrations as for a children's book, and not just for, like an art print or something, because you have to think about where the text is, and being able to leave that space for it, because you don't want busyness underneath it. Otherwise, the text will be kind of hard to read. So let's see if there's any other. Oh, you got your Etsy link there. It
Yep.
looks like mine didn't actually come through as a link, so sorry about that. You're gonna have to copy and paste or type, because I didn't do HTTPS or something. So
Well, I just copied and
um,
pasted mine. So
yeah, so that worked out better. Does anyone else have any questions? You can check. You go to the chat, or you can unmute and ask them that way as well. Oh, and Leah, are you going to be offering your coloring book pages at all, like on Etsy, or as a download option or anything like that?
yeah, I have. I just haven't done it quite yet, but I'm planning to have them
Yeah.
up on my website for sure. And that's a good idea. I never thought to put them up on Etsy, but I sure could. That'd be kind of fun,
Hmm.
because they're a really fun coloring sheet. We had them at the launch, and we had, I would say, 150, close. I was about 150 people there, even potentially more. And a lot of kids, and the kids, I mean, they came home with stacks of these. Some kids kept them, and then some wanted me to keep them, which was really sweet. So I have a whole folder of them. And so they had a lot of fun
Aw.
coloring them. And they're beautiful with all the detail in there, but you can also keep it as simple as you want. I know my 3-year-old just kind of scribbled. My 5-year-old tried coloring in the stars, and so it's kind of fun too. And then my older kids too, they got really, really detailed. So they're fun images to color.
Yeah, I wanted to make them accessible for younger children, but also, that older kids and adults and stuff would feel like, it's not just some little baby picture that they have to draw or color on. because they can get kind of like, I'm too old for that, especially like older kids. So kind of along the lines of like the adult coloring book styles where it's a lot more detailed. And so yeah, I just wanted to make sure there was enough like little details in there to make it feel, a little bit more. But yeah, you're right. You could just make it very simple too. So she should have those available at some point. So definitely keep an eye on her social medias to keep an eye out when she's going to be offering that available, or check out her Etsy if you do Etsy. So I don't see any questions coming through right now. And so if you have any more in the future, just definitely feel free to, because we're going to be posting this. It will take a moment with the recording to process it and upload it. So that might be available the next, I would say in the next day or two, might be earlier. I'm not going to say definitely right away because I haven't done the process of Zoom and recording and uploading it and stuff. So I don't know if I have to put it through my iMovie or not, or anything like that to compress it enough for Facebook. But we'll definitely get that up here in the next day or two. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask us. And let's see. Julie says, I have many questions for Leah. So we'll ask her a couple.
Yeah, ask me some. I'm feeling
you can
brave.
either if it's easier just to unmute, or if you want to message them via the chat, whatever works best. We'll give her a minute to decide what she wants to do there.
Okay. What's taking me so long is how to navigate from chat back to the main screen here. And
you're fine.
My talents lie elsewhere. But Leah, I'm excited about your book, and I can't wait to purchase it.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
Yes. My two granddaughters, we go to church every Sunday. We went to church today, and they love learning about Jesus. So this would be a really great book for them.
Oh, cool.
Because I see Jesus starts out as a child and it goes into when he grows up. Did I see that?
What do you say that again?
Did I see age progression on Jesus in here?
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm excited about that. So
yeah.
But Amanda also did an amazing job on illustrating my book. Unlike you, she has for your book, the imagination is amazing. But I'm only at the illustration part. I haven't, found a publisher or editor, and I just kind of want to maybe off screen here pick your brain a bit about those types of things.
Oh my.
Yeah, I know.
Well, maybe if you have a couple of questions now that you can ask, I'm sure other people are interested. So like if there's like things like about the process or something, maybe you can ask a couple right now.
And I didn't hear too much in the beginning, but what inspired you? And the title is also very interesting to me. St. Joseph's Hammer, which seems like the main character of the hammer. But tell me about the hammer and why this is the title.
Well, first off, congratulations on your book. I would love to check that out too as soon as that comes out. So I'll keep watching Amanda, grab myself a copy. But
thank you.
I'm not entirely sure how it all came about. It kind of I like to think it's the Holy Spirit, but I just was thinking of just the versatility of the hammer and just how it would have been with him every step of the way. So I thought, well, what a fun and kind of whimsical way to tell the story in a way that it's never been told. Obviously, a hammer is a completely inanimate object, but it's neat in the sense that, like, as you look throughout the story, there's images of him, making tools with it, but he's also fixing up the cradle for baby Jesus. Honestly, in my original draft, and thank God Amanda toned me down, I had him defending the Holy Family with it, but not hurting anybody, but just holding up over his head kind of as a defense mechanism against the bandits in one of the later scenes as they're traveling to Egypt. Or is it traveling to Bethlehem? But to just thinking, like I said, the versatility, how that would have been something that would have been with him. And it was just kind of a different way of telling a story that we've all heard a million times. Every Christmas, we hear the story of the Holy Family and the birth of Jesus. But I didn't want that to be the focus of this story, which is also why the three kings are actually pulled out of the scene because I didn't want it to feel too Christmassy, because I wanted the central focus to be on the life of Saint Joseph himself. So like, there was just kind of a whimsical way of telling a story that we've heard, but through the eyes of a character that just we would have never thought of, but we do know Saint Joseph was a carpenter, so it's safe to assume he had some kind of hammer with him much of his life.
Yeah, and if we're all familiar with Joseph being a carpenter and then Jesus being a carpenter. So I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that with
Absolutely.
And I like the idea that keeping the three kings out just to focus on, the main characters of the story. I can't wait to get the book in my hands. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. I think you'll really enjoy it. Like I said, it was just kind of fun. And then in the back, I didn't mention this, but I have one in front of me. It was important to me that I had references for everything, because so little is spoken about Saint Joseph. We don't know a lot about him. So I wanted to have reference points for everything, because there's so much conflicting information, like where was he born? We don't actually know. So either it's from sacred scripture, I quoted sacred scripture, so you can look it up, or it's from a reputable saint, maybe like Saint Justin Martyr, for example. He lived in, I think, 150 AD. So shortly after Jesus had died and all that. So he very likely knew a lot of information about the Holy Family. So I just wanted to quote those things or cite those things so that for even adults, you can go deeper and learn more. But at the same time, it's a 5-minute children's book. So you can read it quick before bed, get your child or grandchild off to bed. But if you want, you can dig deeper and learn more. And that, like I said, that was really important to me too, that it could be kind of a bit of a, I don't know, like I said, just kind of something you could really meditate with as well.
Yeah, and you're right about Saint Joseph. Now you have piqued my interest. So I'm going to go straight to the back of the book when I get it.
There you go. That's cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely, before this book, I knew about Joseph, right, and everything. And, but I didn't really think about him too often, because again, he's not mentioned very often. So it was definitely beneficial for me to, as I was doing this, because, I researched and tried to find out what I could, so that, I could incorporate as many details as possible. Like even on the back cover, we did the lilies that he's kind of associated with and everything. But yeah, it was interesting just to kind of learn a little bit more, and even about the scenes that I've already heard of many times. And there's a lot of like speculation about, like, was it like a cave? Was it a room, in this place? Was it this? Was it that? And there's like so many different things going around. We don't really know. So we're all just trying to like figure it out and make the best we can. But the cave is definitely one of those options. And that's the one we went with. But it was just really fun to like research all of that and like kind of have that new take on things and new possibilities that I didn't really think of before. And just like different things, like what clothes would they have worn? What did their houses look like? What tools did they use? Like there was just so much more that, I could just learn about. And thankfully, there's been some shows recently that were very well done. What's it called now? The one that's out, The Chosen. I knew it was something to see, but I was like, can't remember it. But The Chosen came out, so that kind of gave me some inspiration on like different outfits and what markets could look like, and what would be in a home and things like that. But I don't want to pull too much from the show because I did all that hard work. But yeah, it would definitely help, because it's hard to picture even 100 years ago, let alone like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Of how they lived, and it must have been, similar but yet so different. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And that, so I think I can imagine with all that history in the back and the references and things where people can actually, pull a little bit more data if they wanted to. I think it's really cool, so that other people can have a little bit more of that experience too.
Right, absolutely.
And 2 more things from Miss Leah. One, I pray you have great success with this book. And I pray you have a healthy baby when time is due.
Thank you. I'm 20 weeks pregnant, so I'm just starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable, halfway there. But no, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's also why I'm not as aggressive in my book writing and publishing because, that's baby number 8. I got my hands full.
Yeah, you do.
But thank
And then
you.
some.
You're so welcome.
That was really sweet. Also, back to Amanda said something about lilies. I'm wearing my St. Joseph earrings. I got them from, I think it's called Seeds of Blessing or something. I found them on Etsy and I'm like, I need these. They're St. Joseph earrings. So anyways, I thought that was kind of fun.
Those are cute.
Thank you.
I would think about how to I would think about piercing my ears again. When I was little, I couldn't because they were so sensitive. I could only have like the special kinds. But I was like, well, maybe now that I'm older, because otherwise you just get like boring stuff. I'm like, what's the point? But maybe now I'm older, it'll take better is what I think.
There you
but
go.
I don't know. But I figure maybe I'll give it a try again because those are really cute.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if you do have any other questions, you can contact Leah or myself directly or comment on this post when it comes out or anywhere, you can definitely feel free to reach out. And we would love to see your images, your drawings. So feel free to post those as well. And either post us directly like as a comment, or you can make a post and tag us so we will see it. Because that'll be fun to see everybody draw their own hammers. And if you can think about like what your hammer would be and what their personality would be, which would be kind of like what their maybe facial expressions would be. And I think it'd be fun to have everybody have their own unique hammer too, or you can just draw exactly. That'd be neat too, to see St. Joseph's hammer. So I can't wait to see all of those. And thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you everyone for joining us. Take care.
Thank you,
You're
everyone.
welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good night.